What's going on, everyone? It's RZ over here at Bukugames, and today I have another devlog for you guys. This time we're not going to be going into Unity directly and seeing the game, but I wanted to talk about something outside the game, or at least things you're going to be putting into your game that you'll be getting from outside the game. Now, there are certain things in games where obviously you're not going to be super well versed in. For instance, for us, music is not either me or my brother's strong suit, so we have to find music, at least for the placeholder phase of the game, to be created and put into the game so we can test things. Now, the first option is obviously outsourcing, and while that is awesome and I plan to possibly do that, and we plan to work with composers when the game is close to being done, while we're developing the game, we want to find other ways to put placeholder music in other than just, going to YouTube and downloading your favorite game track and putting it into the game. There are other ways to do that for sound effects, for music, for 2D sprites, 3D models, all these other things. So I'm going to show you that today, and maybe we'll talk about outsourcing in the future, but I'm going to show you one main website and a bunch of third-party websites. So let's go, not into Unity, but into the Unity Asset Store. Let's do it. Okay guys, so I'm over here at the Unity Asset Store. The Unity Asset Store is probably not new to anyone who has been working with Unity for a while, but it's a great way to find assets. As you can see, there are a bunch of categories here, and you can use all of them to grab stuff that you may need. Today I'm going to be looking at visual effects. So the first thing you need to do is create a Unity account, and you should have it tied to whatever you use to log into Unity via Unity Hub. So I would do that first. It is completely free. You should have a Unity account just so this stuff is super easy to go between. Now, once I click VFX, I'm going to actually go and look at free assets. Now, there are great paid assets on the store here, but I usually try to go for free stuff, especially if I'm doing placeholder. I don't really want to pay for things. The cool part with Unity Asset Store, though, is that you actually will be able to use these whenever. So if it's one project and then you move to another project, you can use them in like all of them. For the most part, there are some that may be different, but let's go find one here. Let's see. Okay, so to find the one I was looking at, you actually got to go to publish date, which is basically what is the most recent one created. And this one is called Hit Effects Free. They have a little YouTube video playing here that kind of shows you what it is about, which is cool. And then you have some screenshots of what they may look like. And if it's audio, usually they'll have like some type of audio sample that you could listen to. Now, there are a few things you got to pay attention to when you come here. First, you have to look at the license agreement. So we have the standard Unity EULA here, which, if you want to read through that, go ahead. But basically, I'm not a legal expert, so anything I say here, make sure you consult a legal person before you actually go and just start using this stuff. I'm just using it based on what I know. And essentially what I'm saying is you can use these in pretty much any project you create. If not in the final version, definitely for placeholders. So it's also noticed as an extension asset, which again doesn't really mean much. So for the file size, it's very small, and you can see the latest version is 1.0. This person literally just released this recently, May 30th, and the original Unity version is 2022. You want to pay attention to these things because if you're using an older version of Unity or possibly a newer version of Unity and this person has not updated their content here, then you may be in a bit of trouble. What do I mean by that? It means that the asset may not work. It may just break, it may throw errors, there may be things that these scripts are calling that just don't work in the newer versions of Unity or older versions of Unity, vice versa. You also have to take note of the Unity version here and whether it's compatible with things you're using for your rendering pipeline. We're not using HDRP, but at least I don't think we are. I'm pretty sure we're not. So I got to make sure that I confirm that. But yeah, make sure you confirm that and you can see like how this is being used. It gives you a little description, tells you what it does. The cool thing about the asset store, which is kind of a double-edged sword here, is that it gives you a breakdown of everything. So it tells me there are 59 files. It tells me all the materials in here. I can actually go, this is the folder structure that there will be when you go into Unity and actually import this to give you a demo scene and everything, which is probably just whatever they're using in this video, most likely. And then you can look at like releases. This is also good to look at because you need to know, is this person keeping up with this asset, or did they just throw it on here and we're like, forget about it? Because if it hasn't been updated in like 3 years, it may not work, even if it's supposed to work with your current version of Unity. Who knows? Reviews are always nice, but this is new, and then here's a little info about the publisher, how many assets they've created, your standard stuff whenever you're trying to buy something from any type of storefront. So the last thing you need to do when you're ready is you click add to assets. I mean, I can add this, it's free. So you just accept the EULA. And now you can either open it in Unity, which will open it in whatever project I believe you have your, I think this will just open Unity Hub, allow you to select the project and then you go in. The other way to do it is first, let me show you right here. If I go on my accounts and click my assets, you can see all the different assets I have, and that one is on the top. And the open Unity button is here as well. What will happen is you need to go into what is called the package manager. I'll show a screenshot just to show you what the package manager is, but you basically have to download and import the files. It'll import them, it'll organize them for you in their respective folders, which is pretty nice. So I recommend doing that. And once you do that, then you can start working with these cool hit effects in Unity. So if I were to give some negatives on the Unity Asset Store, I'd say it's pretty much glued to Unity in a sense. A lot of these things, yes, you can drag them out and take them out of the project, but it's a bit tougher when they're broken into prefabs and whatnot. Versus all these other options I'm going to show you, it's much easier and not tied to Unity itself. So you got to pay attention to what your development pipeline is going to be looking like. You can get stuff, if you're working on other engines, from the Unity Asset Store. It'll just be kind of tough to work with. Next on the list are fonts. Well, in your game, you're going to have different text, and you know, plenty of games are known for their font style. Some that come to mind are the Metal Gear Solid series and the Kingdom Hearts series. They use specific fonts or even game logos. The Sega font, that is a great example of one. And those are unique fonts that have probably been created in-house, but Google Fonts is a great way to give you some placeholder fonts. You'll see there's ones in different languages as well, so if you're doing a foreign game, that's also cool. But yeah, there are some cool ones every now and then, but in general, I mostly use these for just kind of getting an idea and giving myself a little motivation than just using the default Unity font. I don't really like using the default Unity font. It's not bad, it's just it makes my game feel like it's still in a testing phase rather than making progress. So the cool thing about Google Fonts, and I'm going to continue talking about these licensed things on each of these, is just asking, can you use these fonts in anything? And yes, you can use them in anything. You can use them in a logo, you can use them on merchandise, you can use them on commercial products. So that's the biggest positive about Google Fonts, is you can use them wherever I should say. There's no limit to them. But there may be other websites that give you cooler fonts and they may have more restrictions on them. So that's the trade-off you're getting. Next up, we have a website that I really enjoy, Zapsplat. Zapsplat is great for sound effects and royalty-free music. What is royalty-free music? Essentially, that basically means you're not paying every time that music is being played. A lot of people, like artists and whatnot, when they're on Spotify or other things, they'll have every time that music is played, they get some type of money. Or actors, whenever a rerun of their show goes on, they'll get paid some type of money. Zapsplat, on the other hand, you have royalty-free music, where if I click here, I get a bunch of different categories. Now, one thing you may have noticed, a lot of the music from Life's a Drag is from Zapsplat, because we didn't have a composer. We didn't have someone to make the music for us. They even have a section here called Game Music and Loops Music. What does that mean? That essentially means that you are going to have game music that can actually loop at the end of it. So in a lot of games, you're in a level and you may be in the level for 5 minutes, but the music is only 3 minutes long. So once the music is done, you want it to loop back to the beginning seamlessly rather than cut off abruptly. And you know, there are a lot of cool ones here. Maybe I can play one. Let's just like pick one. Game Music Dark Electro. What is this? I mean, that's pretty dark electro for sure. Let's see if we can find another one. And you can see that sounds pretty crazy. So if you skip ahead, yeah, you know, I could see that being like in a mini game or something for a game or something. So that'd be pretty cool. But what you need to know with Zapsplat is you need a basic account. As far as I'm aware, you need one. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but I'm pretty sure you need a basic account to download anything. But it's free, so you just sign up, use an email, and there you go. Now, the sad part about Zapsplat is that you cannot download WAV format files unless you have the gold feature, which you do need to pay for. But WAV files, you know, for placeholder, it's fine. Using MP3s will work. So if I click MP3 and I want this song, it'll tell me I could download the MP3. That'll give me a link right there to download the file. And also, it tells you right here how to credit them. It says you need to use a sound from zapsplat.com. I can show you the license here, which basically means you can use all the sound effects and music for games and apps. So if you're making a game, you can use it without any issues, as long as you credit them and say that you've used Zapsplat. Again, these are in the credits in our other game, Life's a Drag, Right Place, Right Time. Feel free to download those for free and check them out. So this next website is probably my favorite, and it's the one I've used the most. Actually, a lot of the music you hear in our YouTube videos, maybe whatever's playing right now, is from this website, opengameart.org. It is an awesome website where you can get 2D stuff, 3D stuff, though I don't really see much 3D stuff on here that I like. And you can get music, sound effects, and whatnot. So the easiest way to do this, you can also create a free account on here, and feel free to follow us on here. We do post like some updates here and there on here about what we're up to. I'm going to go back into music again, and we're going to check this out real quick. So if I go to music and click browse and go to music, I can now search. So the last thing I searched was Tavern. Let's try that. And you can filter stuff out as well. So if I click search, we will now be in a tavern. I'm going to throw on my headphones again real quick just to listen in with you guys on whatever it is we're hearing. Let's find this one called like Dragon Tail Tavern. All right. Okay. Very quiet, a little somber. Add the instruments in. This is pretty cool. So there's no download link here, so what I'm going to have to do is actually click on the file itself. And here you go. So now I get some information. It says 154 beats per minute. It tells you the author's name is Jan125. It even tells you where to loop it. So if you want to loop it correctly, loop at the midway point to make it seamlessly loop. And then obviously he has like some different formats here. OGG is a great format for Unity specifically. I'd recommend getting your files in that format if you can. It just plays well with how Unity streams assets and whatnot. I'm not sure the full technicalities of it, but you get some other stats here. Like this has 90 downloads. A lot of people have downloaded it. It gives you this other version of zip file, which you're not always going to get. You're not always going to get this stuff broken up on OpenGameArt. You may just get the music file and that's it. And you might just have to live with that. It kind of sucks, but that's how it is. And I love the community over here. There's a lot of people that they're really nice, and they will give constructive criticism now and then, but they are usually pretty nice and pretty open. And they'll even be like, you can even say I'm using this in my game, and you can kind of comment on how you're using it and whatnot. But the last important thing here are the licenses again. I actually have this open already, so. This is CC by 4Deed, which is basically just Creative Commons. This is the Creative Commons website. And what that basically means is I have to link to Jan125. I have to say this person is the author of it. And I also have to say that this is using the Creative Commons 4.0. The best way to do this is when you're downloading these files, put each of them into a folder that lists the Creative Commons type that it's under, because pretty much all these are the same. I'm not going to say they're the same because for legal reasons they're not. But a lot of them are similar, where you have to link to the actual license that pertains to it, and you have to actually link back to the creator. Sometimes you may just have to not even link at all. Sometimes you just have to link to the license. It varies. But I like to throw them into a folder. I'll probably throw a screenshot up here of what it looks like in our previous games and how we broke it up. So, put the author in there, and then that way you don't forget like 5 months later when you're doing the credits of your game, oh man, where did I download this song from? Do I need to credit it a certain way, etc. And yeah, so it'll save you a lot of time in the future, trust me. So here is the newest website I've found. It's not necessarily like new in and of itself, it's just the newest one I found, which is GameDevMarket.net. I haven't used them much, but I'm planning to because they have some cool stuff on here. We're going to go into this time GUI, or graphical user interface. Let's try it. So we have a lot of, when you're making your game, you have these basic Unity buttons and whatnot, and they look pretty bland, so you might want to reskin them. Look, we have perfect things for like medieval stuff and whatnot. Now a lot of this is paid, so what you're going to want to do is go to free here, do update, and there you go. So we got a lot of cool stuff. We got like loading screens, we have scrolls. That's pretty cool for medieval stuff. One of the ones that I like is this controller UI. Like, this is super cool. Now you do have to worry. The one big thing about this, and let me show you another example while I'm here. Things are not vetted for copyright a lot on this website, so you have to be careful and look at the descriptions and see, did these people actually get like the correct are they doing things that are not considered copyright? Have they gone through the correct legal channels and whatnot? Here we can clearly tell this is Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, and I'm sure these other characters are from other games that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But as you can see, this UI thing includes the UI for all these. As you can see here, he actually mentions due to copyright problems, he did certain things. So just make sure that as you're going through these, you're making sure that the person actually has this in there. Yeah, I think I did add this to my cart a while ago. So as you can see, it's in there. But check this out. It's kind of similar to the Unity Asset Store where they have version number, where it's last updated. As you can see, this hasn't been updated in a while, but it's just an icon, so it's not as bad. And then they give you like the formats that they're going to give you the files in, which is awesome. If they give you the Photoshop or the Illustrator file and whatnot, that is amazing because you have free reign to do a lot of customization with this. Specifically here with the license, they have the Pro license on all the assets on this website, which is basically saying you can make any changes and use it in anything commercial. That is super cool. There are some things you can't use, but just at your own discretion, look at those. And yeah, you can see this has a lot of different assets. It's very basic, but like you can take off the buttons and like maybe have those buttons be used in other parts of the UI and whatnot. And that's super cool. Overall, I would say this is a pretty good website. It's very easy. You simply add stuff to your cart. You check out, and once you've checked out, you now have things. So for instance, I have this flowing water here. I just click the download link, and now I can download that, and I have it whenever. And you could do this as many times as you want, as far as I'm aware. So super cool that you can just keep downloading them. You don't have to worry about, oh no, I only downloaded it once, I bought it once, now where does it go after this? If I lost the file, it's game over. No, you have a lot of options here. So the negatives for this is that they kind of botch it a little bit with the copyright here and there. I'm not saying this person did copyright stuff. I'm just saying like there are things on here that you have to be careful of to protect yourself when you're using them in your game. So just be careful about that. But overall, great website, a lot of free assets on here, and one that I'm going to be using going down the line. Alright guys, and that'll pretty much do it for this devlog. I wanted to show you where we get a lot of our resources for game development. There are a lot of websites and things that I talked about today that a lot of developers won't talk about because they want to kind of keep that a secret. I'm not trying to hate on any developers, but that's just the way it is out there. When you go to tutorials, they'll say, hey, just go and make a video game and try your best and do whatever you can. That's awesome and it works. But you still have to find the resources. When you're not well versed in something, for instance, we're not well versed in music. So what do? We go and find music from these websites instead of just ripping them off YouTube with really bad quality and whatnot. So I think that it's really awesome that I'm able to share these. And I will have links to all these websites in the description below, so you can check them out for yourself. If you have any other websites or resources that you use, feel free to also talk about them in the comments, because I am super interested to always learn more and learn new things. And maybe I'll shout it out in the next video, who knows. But with that being said, this has been an awesome devlog. I'm glad I could show you more of the outside of the Unity itself and the game engine and whatnot, and actually show you what we work on as developers that are a small team that have to do all these things. So I'm going to catch you guys in the next devlog. Hopefully it is one that is awesome and we can show off a lot of new things we've been working on. But until then, I've been RZ over here at Bukugames, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Remember, if it's not fun, it's not worth it. See you guys.